really. But they're going to come up against the wall, I think, in Super League this season. They'll be competitive against 4 or 5 teams. The rest of Super League will be looking at these as easy beats, I would have thought. My rising star at Hull KR, that rhymes, not a particularly young player, but someone I think could come in and have an impact in Super League, is the winger Ryan Shaw. Very, very gifted, very athletic finisher, quite slender, gets up in the air well, and also knows how to kick a goal as well. So he's a favourite of Hull KR. I see them finishing 12th and getting relegated in favour of Toronto, as I've already alluded to. I'm just really
12th in the regular season. Then.
Bottom down.
Do you think there'll be £1 million game, or even not even that?
I'd like to give them a swing at £1 million, but no, I don't know. I found it really tough. I think they're going to have a really tough year, and then they're going to come up against teams that are in Leigh and Toronto, particularly, and probably London, that are on the back of successful seasons, and that's going to be really difficult for them to overcome. There's some good young players coming out of that joint Hull Academy, but I don't think there's anywhere near enough to kind of bolster them if anyone out of the main 13 or 14 go down for them. So, yeah, for me it's going to be a really tricky year for Hull KR. What do you think?
Well, I have Danny Maguire as the key man. Obviously, everything they're going to do will go through him. When you look at their squad, him and Sean Lunt are the two players that stand up as being Super League quality leaders in that side. There's a few other good players, but they're the ones that really stand up. My rising star, I've picked out Andrew Heffernan. He had a great year in the Championship last year. He's a little bit unknown coming into the Super League for some of the sides, I would suspect, so he might catch a few on the hop, and hopefully he can continue his progression in the centres there. In the regular season, I've got him finishing in the bottom 4. If I had to put my neck out, I'd say 10th or 11th. But really, it's the end of the season where I'm more confident of. I actually think they will have enough in that qualifier stage to edge still in, and I'm going to give them 3rd in the qualifiers. And because I think they've still got some experience that can manage them through that. I mean, Scruton, Massot, Blair. These are experienced players with a little bit of quality. Donaldson, Clarkson, Tommy Lee coming in as well. I don't think, I think there's names in there that can get down, get gritty, and get at it. I mean, but
look, Scruton's 33, Mo Blair's 33. Who was your other man?
Massot's 28.
Massot could be 35 for all we know.
Yeah.
Look, Justin Carter we've not talked about. He could come in and have an impact for them, but he's part of a very small group of Super League.
Well, he's never been bad in Super League. He's just never also been consistent. Yeah, well, look, I can't see Danny Maguire being good enough, as good as he is, at 35 going into a new setup, to be able to bring that side along to be a top 8 side. No. There's just not top 8 talent in that side. Too many of this side, really, are part of the squad that either went down and players who've kind of shown the level already, or the rest of the squad is just unproven potential at this level. So that's why I can't see them finishing any higher than 10th in the regular season and 3rd in the qualifiers, scraping through, being safe.
Okay. Well, we did hear from some Hull KR fans. They got in touch. Kev Todd said, I think we'll finish 8th in our first season back.
We should have prefaced this, shouldn't we, that now comes the comments where no side finished outside the top 8 and no side doesn't win the Champions Cup semi-final.
No, right, okay. Have you got Hull KR doing in the cup, by the way? I got out before the quarters.
I don't see it as a focus, let's say.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
Sid said top 8. P. Robinson also said top 8, and Dave Regan said 10th place finish. Stay up and avoid the £1 million game. There you go. Okay.
Well, I think Dave is
in the most realistic of the Hull KR fans,
is in the same boat as me there, so I can't criticise his prediction one bit.
Far from it. Okay, let's take a look then at the Catalan Dragons. Mark, they finished last season in 10th place, and they were 5th, weren't they? We won the £1 million game over Leigh, sending the Centurions back into the Championship. They've lost some significant names out of the squad over the off-season. Richie Myler's gone to Leeds Rhinos. Thomas Bosker's, of course, retired. Justin Horrow's gone to Wakefield. Jordan Desiree, has gone to the Leigh Centurions. Luke Burgess and Chris Inu, there were also big losses for them, going to Salford and Widnes, respectively. Coming into the Stade Gilbert Brutus, Lewis Tierney from Wigan, and Tony Maria, Sammy Sonny Lange from Centurions of Leigh, Ben Julian from the Warrington Wolves, David Mead from the Brisbane Broncos, and surprisingly for me, Michael McAlorum from Wigan Warriors, going for a bit of cash and sunshine. What do you reckon?
Well, I did a blog post about Gelling and McIlroy leaving Wigan, so you could check that out. But I'm not too heartbroken if I'm honest. I loved him as a Wigan player, but I kind of agree that he wasn't necessarily hitting the highs last year. So yeah.
There you go. Okay, so what about predictions then?
Well, what did they do last?
I talked about this.
Oh, have we?
10th, finished 8th.
Oh, you did it the other way around. I was too busy setting the timer, wasn't I?
And they got to round 6.
I apologise.
No, you're all right. Round 6 of the cup.
So key man is Luke Walsh. He's the only experienced halfback on the roster.
Yeah.
I mean, when Sammy Soni-Langi's wearing the 6 jersey, I know he's played there in backwater games in Oz, but not sure. Rising star, obviously, then is Lucas Alba, who's been their rising star for 3 years now.
Go. Agreed.
He is now 19 years of age. I think he's showing potential as an interchange hooker as well as a halfback. I think he's a very talented kid.
Yeah.
And by the end of the season, I would hope to see him partnering Luke Walsh in there. I think they're going to do better than last year. I've got them finishing in the 4th to 8th range in the regular season. I'm pegging them at 8th as the final place finish for the Catalan Dragons. I don't think they'll do much in the Cup. I don't think that'll be their focus, and also don't think they've got a coach who's a one-off game motivating type coach, but he will improve some of the players. I think they've got a much better look to the squad in 2018, with that exception of uncertainty over the halfback partnership, which actually was pretty good for them last year. However, the back five, if you look at their best back five, which is probably Mead, Broughton, Thornley, Willie, Army and Tierney, I think that looks really threatening, certainly 4 out of those 5 players. They've got some depth there as well. They've got injuries, experience, depth. Yaha's played a few seasons at Super League level now. Then you've got Dupont. So, there's some depth there. They've also got a really experienced group of frontline forwards, and then bringing McIlroy and Julian in, I think that just gives them depth in areas that they didn't have quality depth last year. Hooker was an area they really struggled with last year.
Went down, yeah.
And even really when he wasn't, obviously they've totally written off
Aris da Costa.
Well, or the idea that Pelissier could have gone back in this squad, because he's at Lesignan now, isn't he? So, but I think Michael McIlroy strengthens that position, no doubt. Benjamin Julian gives him. Okay, probably just swap him for Justin Horro, but it means that they've got depth at that second row position when they could have been lacking. League will be their focus. I don't feel they have a better side on any given day than at least half the league, but I think they can bring enough consistency to make the top 8, and if they don't make the top 8, Matt Namara ain't seeing out the season. I don't think he ain't going to get that long-term plan in place.
I remain massively unconvinced by the recruitment that's gone on at the Catalan Dragons, although in no way surprised by the calibre of recruitment that's gone on at the Catalan Dragons. I don't consider Steve McNamara to be the kind of passionate leader that the passionate Catalan fans and players need to motivate them. I take your point completely that he's a phenomenal coach and he probably technically gets players playing at a better level, but it's all well and good getting these lads to be technically proficient if they're not turning out on the field and actually wanting to play for each other. I had hoped at the end of the season they would have put a bigger focus on developing and bringing on their youngsters for a season or two and throwing the weight behind building some Catalan pride back in there. It doesn't seem to have happened, given the fact that there's only 3 Frenchmen in the 1 to 13 squad jerseys for this team.
I still hope that Tony Gigo will come back.
Maybe, but he just seems to be pissing people off left, right and centre, doesn't he? I would have been looking for focus, pride and passion out of this team, and you could probably eke some of that from the local community, but the recruitment that's gone on... Look, Ben Julian will come back in and do, like you say, I think he'll do a serviceable job. David Mead and Michael McIlroy, I don't know what David Mead's motivation is beyond what your usual Aussie suspects have for coming to the Catalan Dragons. He could turn out and have a great year or two with them. He might be absolute pony. I know where my money lies. Michael McIlroy,
I think he's going to be great.
With Mickey Mac, for the ferocious competitor that he had been in a Wigan jersey, this move bamboozles me beyond the idea that he's going for a bit of cash and sunshine. Maybe there's no way that he could make a sideways step to at the same tier of Super League teams, and he certainly wouldn't want to go and play for St Helens and things like that. But I feel like there were competitive sides that McIlroy might have gone to or might have preferred to go to in the north of England, and he hasn't chosen to do that, so I'm not sure what he's going to achieve. Well, he's definitely probably behind Paul Ayton in the pecking order anyway, so he's going to be spelling him. I'm unsure. It's a tough year ahead for me. Luke Walsh and Lucas Albert, key man and rising star. Absolutely, I agree with you. I think they're going to be 9th in the regular season and drift down a little bit during the Super 8s and end up finishing 10th, or 2nd as it is, in the middle there. They'll go nowhere in the Cup. And as much as your back line looks threatening, I also think they've got a lot of fuck-ups in them as well. So that's real potential too. There you go. Catalan Dragons, just on the buzzer. Who got in touch with us?
We only have one getting in touch with us. That was
He's the one that counts, though.
Our good friend Alan Paul Walker. He expects improvement, more passion, and more speed from his Dragon side. So I think with McIlroy you get the passion, with Mead you get the speed. See how they can transfer that across. We move on next to the side that finished bottom of Super League. They then finished 2nd in the qualifiers. Cup just existed for them for a week or so, but it is the Widnes Vikings. And talking about their losses, Chris Bridge and Eamon O'Carroll retired. Jack Buchanan, we now know, has gone to Toronto, where Tom Armstrong also went. Corey Thompson's gone back down under the Western Tigers. They lost Manesi Manu Okafoa to Albi, and of course Rangi Chase's drugs ban was confirmed in the off-season.
There you go.
He ain't going to be turning out for them. To replace that, they've basically brought in Sam Wilde, who they had on loan earlier last year at some point, Christian Inu from the Catalans, and then the Albert brothers from the PNG Hunters, who should be interesting signings. Obviously, let's not forget unfortunate circumstances around KO.
So sad.
Absolutely tragic, and he would have been a player that I was really excited to see this year. So,
really tragic that young man passed away. Are we pronouncing the Albert brothers with a soft T as if they were French, or is it?
Is that what I did then?
You said Wellington Albert.
I didn't mean to do that. I think I'm still on the Catalan Dragons.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's me mispronouncing it.
No, it is Albert.
Stanton and Wellington themselves will be.
I apologise
hard T's
for softening it there.
Yeah, key man for me at Widnes, Pep Cahill this season. His experience is going to be invaluable to that squad. Rising star, you can't get too, you can't look too much further away than Danny Walker, really, can you? For them, I would say.
The young hooker with the big ears.
Yes, the young hooker with. Well, yeah, I was waiting for you to call him Jug Ears himself.
Well.
Exciting prospect.
Young fullback prospect Ollie Ashall got a vote in the Man of Steel.
Did he really? There you go.
So, there's other places.
I called Ludo and claimed my prize.
No, I think it was Neil McEwen.
All right, fair enough. Okay, regulars. It's just going to be a tough old year for Widnes this year, isn't it? Bit of grunt in the pack comes from these PNGians, but you've got to wait and see if they adapt and acclimatise and if they've got a bit of go forward about them. Christian Inu brings real quality, but if his attitude's right, that's my question about Christian. He was having an uptick towards the back end of last season before his signing at Widnes was announced. So he comes in and brings a lot of experience that can be of benefit to some of these young players. But I think they might very quickly find themselves relying on the kids again at Widnes if injuries don't go their way. And when they start to do that, we see them really struggle. You see a lot of plucky performances and a lot of talent and potential, but you don't see that necessarily translating into results on the field. And that's what I'm frightened will happen again at Widnes. I think there's a ceiling for Widnes without maybe a change in a coach or some further investment somewhere down the line. I think they're pretty much going to be floating around that bottom four, and for me they're finishing 11th, but I see them staying up. I don't think they'll get relegated. I think they'll do reasonably well in the middle eights, probably finish second or third in that. I don't anticipate that they'll have a glorious cup run either, though, unfortunately. So it's going to be hard watching for Widnes fans. What do you think?
I'm really worried for Widnes.
Yeah,
I've actually got them finishing 12th in the regular season,
right,
and then finishing in the bottom three of the qualifiers and falling out without even having £1 million game to try and save themselves with this. With all my predictions rounded out, Cup isn't their business this year. If they have a run, that'd be a bonus. I just worry for them because they've got a young squad that's going to really need to get lucky with injuries if they have any chance of competing. Because when you look at, say their bench squad numbers, when you look at them, I mean, Craven, Olberson and Wild are reserves at any other side in Super League. They're not in the first 20 squad numbers, let alone the first 17. They're not in the first 23 at some. No. So I'd say that about them. They don't They have not done anything at all to address